All right. Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary in Central Virginia to share another contemplative focus with you. And that focus that I want to share with you today is we are here and it is now. You can know what you're not. You can only be what you are. Your truth is eternal, so why settle for an illusory identity based on the memory of your human journey? Let go and let be. Be all that you are and free yourself of what you are not. So, we are here and it is now. That's a pretty obvious truth. But what about who you are and who you are not? And how can you resolve the predicament, the human predicament of being trapped in a fear based identity, trying to find peace and only experiencing more and more fragmentation and dissension, more conflict? Where is the source of all this coming from? And the wisdom traditions throughout the centuries have always said that if you want peace, you must create that peace inside yourself. But how many people look there to see what's going on? How many people actually realize how conflicted they are inside themselves? They simply unconsciously express this conflict, not really questioning it or going into it or utilizing the balancing techniques of holistic lifestyle and meditation to uncover the source of their conflict and uncover the source of dissension that is being expressed by most people in the world. So it remains a mystery, and attempts to create peace by juggling the various institutions and belief systems that are in the world has been tried for centuries and yet has never worked. The material myth and all the institutions around it continue to sort of seemingly fall apart. And their roles and our relationship to that as individuals seems to get more and more questionable, which leaves people deeper into their fear and deeper into their own conflicts around it. Depending on what that might be, that's what will be expressed. And as that expression gets accentuated more and more, that's what's going to happen. So the question is, why invest in all that when the truth of who you are, the truth that you are consciousness and that you are all that is, lies hidden and unknown because you don't look? Or even if you do know or believe in that, how much time do you devote to cultivating that truth within yourself as an experience of yourself rather than as a belief in yourself? So, in my experience, it's a journey that is well worth taking. It's the only journey that will yield results that actually go with you when you leave your body. So, to me, that's the only investment that really makes sense in these days when it's obvious that the material myth in the world of people who are relatively unconscious is creating more and more suffering and more disillusionment. So why turn to something outside yourself as if it can give you what you already have, or that can help you be what you are already? So this practice of meditation and holistic lifestyle, where you create more balance, and therefore you start to grow your awareness, and you become more and more, so we say, spiritual. You become more subtle. You become more anchored in the love that you are. As my teacher once said, or said many times, we are here to learn how to love. And to learn how to love is to discover that you are love and that everything around you is you. You can't exclude anything without including yourself. And that is a journey that has a destination of oneness that cannot be compromised. So that's really the simplicity of this contemplation. We are here and it is now. What are we doing with now? What are we doing with ourselves? If we keep going back into our memory, if we keep going back into old identifications of who we are, my name, my job, my family, my race, whatever, then we just keep digging up the same kind of differences that we've always experienced without awareness, with the differences that appear when we are ignorant of the truth of who we are. So, meditate, meditate, meditate was the message that my teacher always gave. And it was a true message. It was the only message that really made sense, because from the practice of meditation, for years, the growth of awareness and the results of that growth yield internal peace and internal oneness that cannot be replaced. With it, you are free from the conflicts that you see all around you, even though you're still here witnessing it. But without that, you're locked into the conflict, and you have seemingly nowhere to go. So the journey of oneness is the only journey that will lead us out of the kind of conflicts that we see emerging in the objective world around us. So the source of conflict, of course, is within us, and the source of conflict within each individual is going to add up to the conflicts that we see generated on a worldwide basis. Old identifications, old institutions, old belief systems, still struggling to maintain a status in the world, even though they are failing in that, in what they tried to be, what they pretended to be. As we fall apart, when our pretense begins to fall apart. If I pretend to be a physical body separate from all other physical bodies, then that pretense will eventually disappear. And that's true of every individual. That's the destiny of ignorance in this world. So why hang on to it? Probably just because you don't know any better, which is one of the reasons that I do what I do here, just to throw the message out and see if somebody doesn't get it, and try to start meditating and take on a holistic lifestyle so that they can grow their awareness and become free of the fear that lives within them. Conflict, internal conflict. Oh, is there ever so much conflict within us? It takes, in some cases, years to uncover, unravel, and disassociate with the conflicts based on illusory concepts of who we are and what life is that we have acquired in our life. We acquire it, we bury it, and then we forget it, yet it's still there, active and generating the results of itself in our thoughts, in our feelings, and even in our bodies as we grow and grow. So it's becoming more and more recognized these days that much of our physical ailments is tied deeply into our emotional and in our minds as well. If we have conflict in our minds, if we have pain in our minds, then that eventually manifests somehow on the physical level. So there's a growing awareness of this, which is a good sign, because it's a sign that a lot of people are waking up to the fact that you cannot separate one from the other. If something is broken in your emotional dimension, it's going to show up somewhere else eventually, unless you can bring it to your awareness and clear it. So what you see as something outside of yourself that might be a danger to yourself is really just a projection of what is happening inside of yourself. So if you don't go inside, if you don't clear the path to your own peace and to your own oneness, then there really isn't much else you can do other than to continue to make the same mistakes that you're making now. So we are here and it is now. That message came home to us very strongly during an incident in India when our teacher was in Mumbai, India, and we were, and then a terrorist attack happened in their hotel, and some of our members were killed. Many of our members were injured, but they had the strength of their own practice. They had the strength of the awareness that they had already grown within themselves, and so our response to that was forgiveness, because if we didn't forgive, then we would also become terrorists in ourselves. We would hand over the victory to them in their way. Their conflict would become our conflict, which can be seen very clearly in the world of today. When you respond to something that's not forgiveness, eventually you become that. What you focus upon, you become. So if you focus on justice or vengeance or whatever it was that you felt offended or injured by, you become. And so that it just goes on and on and on until you wake up to the fact that peace is in your hands. It's not something you can get from outside yourself. And one of the best ways to do that, from my own experience, is to generate the feeling of forgiveness, or the feeling of oneness, the feeling of gratitude for anything in your day. When the sun comes up in the morning, when the birds are singing out on the tree limbs, when something is beautiful, whenever you see something that touches you, go in with it and generate a feeling of gratitude for that moment and for that experience. And you will start to see, as you generate that feeling, the love that grows out of such gratitude is what you become. And so all these negative experiences people are generating because they don't do that will not be your experience. Your experience will be a love that is eternal, a love that cannot be destroyed, because that love is you. So you can know what you're not, but you can only be what you are is true. And the more that you practice being who you are, the more that being will grow in strength and power and in your awareness. And you will be walking in a world full of conflict, but there will be no conflict in you. And wherever you go, your very energetic will help to dissolve conflict, and it will help to open people up to the possibility that they too can be united within themselves. They can know peace, they can be peace, and they can love themselves, they can love the world that they're in, and generate something other than conflict to share with their world. And so that's the simple message that we have today, and it's a message that I still continue to hear because I continue to practice, and every time I do, I'm very thankful for the possibility that emerged in my life and the reality of becoming a meditator, of being taken in by a very powerful teacher, and by cultivating my own oneness and my own truth of who I am, as opposed to the fear-based, conflicted definitions that I used to call myself when I first came here. It's a long journey, but it's a worthwhile journey. It's an investment in who you are, an investment that you take with you. So why not? What else do you have to do that could be better than that? And that's what I wanted to share with you today. And I'll be back again next week to share another contemplative focus with you. Thank you for watching.